Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily focus on Paizo tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. And if you want to help me out, I have a Patreon and Discord, more info at the end of the video. So recently, as of the posting of this video, the final core book of the Starfinder 2nd edition launch dropped. That is to say, there was the player core, which showed how to play Starfinder, the GM core, which showed how to run Starfinder, and now we have Alien core, which gives us monsters to fight. Anyone familiar with the Dungeons & Dragons business model should recognize the way this goes. Anyway, Paizo has been kind enough to send me a free copy of Alien core, though they haven't compensated me in any other way, so let's dive into it and show you guys what's in this book. So listen, I know a lot of you guys want to know about the new dragons, and don't worry, I will cover them. But I want to break this overview down into 3 sections. The first section is just going to be a broad overview of the kinds of things in the book, the aliens in the alien core, as it were. The second section will talk about NPC stat blocks because we do get a few of those in the book and I wanted to be sure to highlight them. And then finally, yes, we'll talk about the dragons. So, first section, what is in this book? Well, obviously you have aliens. From the megafauna that you can plop into any world, like this T-Rex thing called a Rendroka. Technically, the Rendroka is from Castrovel, the home planet of the elves, but if you just reflavored it a bit, you could probably put it on any random alien planet just fine. Now, the aliens aren't just limited to mindless beasts. For example, there are stat blocks for the Jinsul, who are an empire of evil, spider-like sentient aliens. And of course, it's not just aliens in Alien Core. There's a plethora of robots to fight as well. Additionally, something I keep saying is that Starfinder is a mashup of science fiction and magical fantasy, and there are monsters that represent this hybridization, like this demon called a Dipex, which is basically just the cyber demon from Doom. There's a lot of these mashup creatures, such as new forms of undead, cosmic trolls, new angels, creatures that belong in the SCP Foundation, what have you. Like, take these space nymphs. They are like standard nymphs, except for instead of a home tree, they have a home asteroid, or maybe even a home sun. Really cool idea. I really want to take a second to point out these space fae who are just really neat. First of all, I've got to gush over the artwork for a second, and beyond this beautiful art, they have a really cool ability. When 3 of these little fae get together, they can grant a wish ritual with some limitations. And if they aren't feeling too mischievous, the wish might even not come with a terrible monkey's paw-like consequence. I can see a big quest to get 3 of these fae together to get some specific wish as part of a quest line. So yeah, there's a lot of good plot hooks if you want. Moving on to part 2, I want to point out that this book does have several stat blocks for NPCs. The Aslanti Guard here have stats. For those who don't know, the Aslanti are an evil empire, and these stat blocks represent their shock troops. There's also stats for the Free Captains, who are space pirates. Also, the Diabolical Hell Knights, who are like a paramilitary group dedicated to complete law and order, that is to say, their law and order. And there's stats for the Xenowardens. The Xenowardens are kind of like space Greenpeace, by the way. Anyway, while there are only a few stat blocks for NPCs, you could easily reflavor them in a pinch. The Aslanti Shock Troops could be Vesk Shock Troops. The Free Captains could be Space Revolutionaries. It's easy to change them up without too much trouble. Okay, yes, it's finally time to talk about the dragons. So if you remember from the first Monster Core book that I reviewed a while ago, Paizo's design philosophy for each dragon is to represent a type of magic. So there are arcane, divine, occult, and primal dragons, and that's carried over into Starfinder. There are 4 new dragons here, 1 for each magic type. Additionally, I speculated that each new Paizo dragon kinda sorta personifies a trope about dragons. That has kind of carried over to Starfinder. 3 of the 4 dragons on display are like that. I think maybe Paizo ran out of tropes though, which is understandable. There's only so many dragon tropes out there. So like last time, I'm going to give you a rundown of each of the dragon types here. Their name, general vibe, I'll list some noteworthy abilities, their trope they embody, and finally 2 plot hooks that I myself came up with. One where the dragon is the quest giver, or at least on the side of the PCs, and one where they are the antagonist. To be clear, these are not plot hooks in the book. I came up with these myself. But the little blurb for each dragon was enough to go off, so kudos to the Paizo writers. Abyssium dragons are up first, and they are named for a glass-like radioactive metal called, well, Abyssium. These are arcane dragons that actually grow abyssium in their bodies, and as such they are extremely radioactive. Luckily, they are immune to radiation, so that's good for them at least. They have a few cool abilities. For example, their breath weapon can deal either fire or poison damage, and they get to regulate it. For example, let's say their breath weapon did 50 points of damage. They can make it deal 25 fire and 25 poison, or 50 fire, or 40 fire and 10 poison, whatever they want. Not sure how useful that ability is, but it's pretty cool. Because abyssium dragons are highly radioactive, they tend not to hang around others. Friends and slaves alike would die of radiation exposure, so they tend to embody the trope of the lone dragon, squirreled away in some remote place. Think of Smaug from Lord of the Rings hiding away in that dwarven lair. Now, Alien Core says that they often end up becoming expert smiths, as they tend to make robots for companionship. In real life, radiation actually messes with electronics, but I guess it doesn't in Starfinder. As for plot hooks, I can see a lonely abyssium dragon working with others, maybe working with a scientific team to explore some radioactive site. Others couldn't get to the site, but they could with their radiation immunity and then keep in touch with magic. Or maybe an abyssium dragon has crafted some horrific doomsday device in their centuries of smithing, and now the PCs have to kill them and destroy the weapon before the dragon sells it to some ne'er-do-wells. Lots of fun ideas for this guy. Next up we have an Akashic dragon, which is the occult dragon. The Akashic dragon has an innate connection to the Akashic record, the record of all things. Now, this connection isn't perfect, so they don't know everything, but they know a lot of stuff, and will sometimes sit in centers of knowledge, either to learn more or to dispense knowledge so that they can feel superior. A big thing about Akashic dragons is that they are very smart and they will not let you forget it. The most interesting thing about the Akashic dragon is that they don't have a breath weapon, technically. Instead, they have a giant laser eye beam, but they can widen it into a cone attack. It's effectively a breath weapon, including recharging like a normal dragon's breath weapon, but it's neat that it's at least flavored differently. Akashic dragons are obviously the embodiment of the trope of the dragon being really smart and arrogant about it. That's not a common dragon trope, but I know I've seen it before. Parthenax from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim comes to mind, though he's not as arrogant as the one Paizo depicts. Plot hooks. So, you want to make an Akashic dragon a quest giver? Maybe they have discovered a discrepancy between the real world and the Akashic record, which could potentially be really problematic, and they hire the PCs to figure it out. Or maybe the Akashic dragon is the only one that has access to a particular piece of information, and the PCs have to find a way to bargain with them for it. This would be a rare social encounter with a dragon, but it could work. Moving on, the third dragon is the Cosmic Dragon. They are a divine dragon, and basically the Solarian dragon. They're born with an innate, intuitive understanding of the cosmos and the life cycle of stars. While the Akashic dragons are the intelligent ones, Cosmic dragons are the wise ones. And I meant that Solarian comment quite literally. Cosmic dragons can switch back and forth between photon and graviton modes, just like Solarians. Cosmic dragons represent the wise, kindly, good dragon trope, like Sisu from Raya and the Last Dragon. They have an intuitive understanding of the cosmos and the natural order of things. They are social, love discussing philosophy with mortals, and detest lying, so pretty good guy coded. Cosmic dragons are pretty easy to work into a plot as a quest giver. Have them hire the party to defeat some great evil that is threatening cosmic balance. Boom, done. As for antagonists, that's a mite trickier. I think maybe the best way to go about it is that the dragon believes that the best way to save the day would be to kill the player characters. Maybe the characters are onto some sort of dangerous quest that could end up damaging the cosmic balance if things go wrong, and the dragon figures that stopping them is the most sensible option. I foresee this would have the dragon apologizing as it attacks them, that old trope. The final dragon is the host dragon, and there's no way around this. Yeah, the host dragon is the one that's covered in swarming insects that live inside the body. Its breath weapon is insects. Ew. Also, while they are smarter than the average commoner, they basically violently attack anyone who isn't one of their insects and often act as primitive beasts despite being sentient. As for abilities, basically it's the swarm of insects. That's their ability. Breath weapon, insects. Get bitten by the dragon, also bitten by insects. And of course, more powerful ones can turn into swarms of insects because of course they can. There's not really a trope that I can see with this one. I mean, I haven't seen too many insect swarm dragons. If I'm missing one, let me know, but I think Paizo ran out of dragon tropes by this point. Again, understandable, there are only so many dragon tropes. Coming up with a way for these guys to give out quests is hard because they're effectively mindless brutes. I guess maybe there could be a plot where some greedy corporation is bent on destroying the host dragon's habitat, and the PCs have to convince the corporation to hold off, or the host dragon is going to retaliate and kill everyone. Host dragons are much more of the antagonist type, though. These are the best guys to introduce if you just want a wandering, dangerous dragon, and the PCs don't have to worry about talking to them. If your players are asking to fight a random dragon, Host Dragon fits the bill perfectly. Well, that's about it for the Alien Core. Of course, there are more monsters here, but if I talked about each one, I'd be here all day. But there's a lot of fun stuff that can be easily adapted into a Pathfinder game. Sure, the Laser Eye Dragon might be a bit out of place, but Rendrokas would be perfectly fine to drop into a fantasy Pathfinder game. Please remember that I do have a Patreon. I'd really appreciate the help, and for less than the cost of a cup of coffee a month, I can have the money to keep doing this. I try to post something new on the Patreon once a month, from monster stat blocks to my upcoming video schedule. Also, remember I do have a Discord server. Come on in and say hi. And of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!